So funny. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. This is a long ways away from all of you guys way in the back. Good morning. Happy Monday. Happy short week of school here. Nice sunny day. Welcome back to another week here at St. Croix. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. I'm going to start you off with a few pictures this morning. And as I put 3 pictures up here, I want you to see if you can figure out what these 3 people have in common. So there's 3, they're famous people, you'll know all of them. What do they have in common, okay? So here's the first one, St. Croix. That's not a person. There it is. All right. Love him, hate him. That's not the point. Okay, so there's 1. There's 2. Again, love him, hate him, not the point. And here's 3. Can you figure out what those 3 people have in common? And then, what do they have in common with Jesus? Anyone? Somebody say it?
They're known as the King.
Thank you. I think somebody up here might have had it. Anybody else figured out that all of those people, in some way, shape, or form, have been referred to as a king? LeBron James is known as King James. Michael Jackson is known as the King of Pop. Elvis was known as the King of Rock and Roll. And Jesus clearly, obviously, is our King. He's the King of Kings. I want you to think of this as I put another picture up here. I want you to think of this in a little bit of a different way. So now, not how are they similar, but how are they different? And really, how are the 3 kings that are on the left side of your screen? How are they kings in a different way than Jesus? So here's kind of a picture of each one of those in kind of a kingly fashion. LeBron was known as the king very early in his basketball career. There's even a magazine called Slam Magazine, which basically profiles lots of young basketball players. And he was known as the king before he even started his first game in the NBA. He's got a tattoo on his back that says, "Chosen." He's the king. Someone even made a DVD of him called King of Kings. Michael Jackson, known as the King of Pop, you know plenty of things about him and the way that he portrayed himself, the way that he lived his life, known as the King of Pop. Elvis, kind of similar to Michael Jackson. Both Michael Jackson and Elvis took that position as king, and that position, that authority, that fame, kind of led to their downfall. Did not plan that. That was all right. One more thing about LeBron. You can't see it on this picture. I couldn't figure out a better way to do it. This is one of LeBron's most recent basketball shoes that he has, and this one on the back of the shoe, it even says the words, "I'm king." So a shoe that he designed, he decided we should put on here just one more reminder, I'm king. How do you think it feels to be a teammate of LeBron? He's the king. What are his teammates then? Subjects? Is Jesus your kind of king? As we look further into this, why do people love basketball players or NFL players or baseball players or anything else? Why do people love them so much? Is Jesus your kind of king? So what do people look for in a king? What kind of qualities? As I tried to look into this, I basically tried to boil it down to two things that people look for in a king. Here's the first one. First, people want to be great, and they want a king that makes them look great. And this was true even in the Bible. The people of Israel, God's people, went to Samuel. And the elders of Israel said to Samuel, appoint a king to lead us, such as all the other nations have. We want to be great because we see all these other nations, they all have kings. We want to be like them. We want to be great. The way I thought of it was that this is greatness by association. You've maybe heard of guilt by association. Like if you hang out with a bunch of people that might be doing something wrong, then you're looked at as also a bad person just because you hang out with them. So if you're subjects of a king who is great, it makes you look great, and you want that. We want to be known as great. The second thing that I thought people look for in a king is someone to fight battles for them. Again, this is the same example from 1 Samuel where the people of Israel, again, tell Samuel, after Samuel's like, a king's not going to be a good idea. He's just going to abuse his power. It's not going to turn out well for you. And the people say, we want a king over us. Then we'll be like all the other nations with a king to lead us and to go out before us and fight our battles. Well, if there's a battle, what does there also have to be? A winner. And why do you want to be a winner? So you can be great. So really, people are looking for greatness for themselves in the leader that they have, in the people that they follow. Here's an example. Maybe you can see it in the tiny, tiny script way at the top. Alexander the Great, maybe one of the best conquerors that there ever was. Definitely fought battles as kind of the king of his empire. Made his empire stretch incredibly far. He didn't live to see 40. And when he died, the empire really just kind of fell apart. What did that role as fighting battles, what did that get for him and his people? Final thing, just kind of wrap that idea up. What do kings want? Not what do the people want in kings, but what do the kings want? Kings always want to be known as the king. I mean, think about it. LeBron has been in the league for a long time and has to remind people on the back of his shoe, just don't forget, I'm king. They always want to be known, and they always want to be at the top. Muhammad Ali has a quote that's really famous. He says, I'm the greatest thing that ever lived. I'm the king of the world. I'm a bad man. Oh yeah, and by the way, I'm the prettiest thing that ever lived too. Kings want to be the greatest. How does that show up? This is a pretty recent picture, a pretty well-known picture. Can you find LeBron in this picture? This is during a timeout or at the end of a timeout where, typically a team huddles up. They're all talking to the coach. The coach is talking to them, giving instructions, all that sort of stuff. If you look at the far right-hand side of the picture, you see a guy in purple sitting down. That's LeBron. Where are all the other teammates? They're getting out of the huddle. This was a really famous thing. It happened like 2 or 3 weeks ago toward the end of a season. And during an entire timeout, he separated himself from the rest of the group. Didn't even join the timeout huddle. So is Jesus your kind of king? So what kind of king is Jesus? First of all, Jesus is a king who didn't try to be great. This is our reading for today from Zechariah 9:9, where it says, "See, your king comes to you righteous and victorious, lowly, and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey. Goes into Jerusalem on a donkey, not a horse, on a donkey." He's not coming into the city trying hard to be great. In the same way, he rides in with this idea of peace. The donkey was a symbol of peace, because if he came in on a horse, horses were used for war. If he comes in on a horse, he's saying, I'm going to fight. We're coming in to do battle. Instead, he came in on a donkey, a symbol of peace. What kind of king is Jesus? Jesus patiently, so patiently, trains other people around him to be leaders too. Think of the people he called to be his disciples. Regular people, sinful people, fishermen, tax collectors. And he says, come follow me, and I will send you out to fish for people. He's training them. He's working with them. What kind of king is Jesus? Everything he did was for someone else, not for himself. Everything he did on behalf of us. Everything he did for our sake, for your sake. Said in Mark chapter 10, even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. Jesus is a different kind of king. He does not set himself up in the same way that we see kings set themselves up today. Because he doesn't do it for himself, he does it for you. So just like people look at a king, look at a leader and say, I want to be great, I want to have a great leader so that I can look great. We have a great king in Jesus who makes us great. By his perfect life, by his innocent death and his resurrection, we get his greatness. We get his holiness. That's greatness by association that we don't deserve, but he gives to us anyway. Jesus is your king, more than any other king that has ever come or will ever come. Let's sing our hymn for today. It is All Glory, Laud, and Honor. I think we'll sing of the hymn. Let's bow our heads for prayer. Dear Jesus Christ, King of kings, you humbly yet triumphantly entered Jerusalem knowing your journey would end in death, but you willingly went to save us lowly sinners. Help us live each day in that same humility and triumph, knowing that your victory and reign as King makes us holy. Amen. God be with you today and always. Are there announcements today?